1, 2, is this on?
With so many wrestling shows taking place every week for decades on end, plenty of matches or moments have become lost.
There was a promo I did, I think it's been lost to the hands of time. Kevin Kelly did an interview and I broke into tears. I really did, legit.
Some are locked away in a vault waiting to be unearthed, while others are not meant to be viewed by anyone.
Never to be viewed, never to be erased. Over the Edge 99 and Draz's match from Nassau Coliseum. That footage still lives. It's just never seen the light of day.
Then there's footage which is completely lost, never to be seen again.
And you still wrestled again in 2007 in a non-televised match against Mystico. You remember this?
Yeah, that never happened.
But this video will be highlighting various examples like this, including partially found footage and the stories behind them.
I had no idea. I didn't know that. I have no idea why it didn't air. I guess time constraints. That tells you how much they cared about some of these secondary titles.
Today we list 10 rare pieces of lost wrestling media.
And by the way, and to take as long as they did to fucking apologize. And Vince, you are a fucking piece of shit. And I'm going to say it right here, for everything that you did that night.
Mick Foley could always flip the switch and play one of his multiple characters to perfection, but some of his best work has come as himself, including one of his most emotional and heartfelt promos, which Mick believes has been lost to time. It occurred following his loss to The Rock on the December 27, 1999 Raw. The defeat meant Foley was fired, which in turn drove him to tears backstage during an interview with Kevin Kelly. The hardcore legend revealed this on an episode of Foley's Pod.
There was a promo I did, I think it's been lost to the hands of time. After I lost the pink slip match, Kevin Kelly did an interview and I broke into tears. I really did, legit, because I've never been able to pretend to cry, even when I've tried. But in that case, I broke into tears. My wife and the 2 kids, when I had 2 kids, they were there.
The interview didn't air as part of Raw, so it's possible that it was pre-taped after the match during the commercial, though ultimately it didn't get used on the show. Foley could also be conflating this promo with a sit-down interview he did with JR that week on SmackDown. The segment took place from Mick's home and depicts him as calm, while seemingly plotting his revenge against Triple H and Stephanie for firing him. Foley mentions wanting to main event WrestleMania, but doesn't cry at any point. This could still be the promo Mick is referring to. However, the WWF probably didn't want to show him crying, so chose not to air that portion of the interview.
And I think Vince saw that promo and realized how important it was to me.
Wow.
And jumping ahead to Mania 2000, that's why they decided to make it a 4-way.
One of the most sought after dark matches is Kurt Angle and Owen Hart's encounter from the May 10, 1999 Raw taping. There exists just a single photo from the clash, which took place 6 months before Angle's televised debut. In 2025, the WWE Vault YouTube channel revealed they couldn't find a copy of the match in their archives. Even back then, cameras were usually rolling for the entirety of TV tapings, but it's possible the bout wasn't recorded, or the tape could have been misplaced or damaged. While chatting to Chris Van Vliet, Kurt shared his thoughts about working Owen.
I remember that he called the whole match in the ring to me. I had an incredible match with him. It was 10 minutes, and when we went backstage, everybody was like high-fiving us and saying it was a great match. And I just started.
Wrestling Angle was one of the final few matches of Owen's career before his passing at Over the Edge 99 on May 23rd, on a night where Owen tragically fell from the ceiling. Footage of the accident is sealed away, never to be viewed, destroyed, or duplicated. This was confirmed by announcer Kevin Kelly on the Place to Be podcast.
And I never dared look at them, but there were 2 tapes that were on a shelf, and it was, never to be viewed, never to be erased. Over the Edge 99 and Draz's match from Nassau Coliseum. So those tapes still exist. That footage still lives. It's just never seen the light of day.
The Spanish commentary feed from Hugo Savinovich and Carlos Cabrera exists, as they were translating the promo package that was being shown at the time of Owen's fall.
Que aquí hay que traer reformas. Oh no!
Because the WWE needs a superhero like the Blue Blazer.
We touched on the WWE Vault channel earlier. It's a treasure trove of previously lost and never before seen moments. Another bout the Vault denied having access to was a reported dark match between Dean Malenko and Mystico from February 2007. People wondered about the match for years, after being shocked to learn of his existence, courtesy of wrestling news sites and message boards. Malenko had been retired since 2001, while Mystico was the biggest box office draw in Mexico at the time. The Vault channel and Malenko himself flat out denied the match ever happened.
And you still wrestled again in 2007 in a non-televised match against Mystico. Do you remember this?
Yeah, that never happened.
It never happened?
That was not me. That was Jamie Noble.
And he just dressed as you?
No, he looks a little like me.
Oh, I understand.
Dean was present giving instructions while Mystico wrestled Jamie Noble in a practice match early in the day before the taping began. These days, all rehearsals and tryouts done before doors open are filmed for insurance reasons. It's possible this was still the case back in 07, but even if the footage exists, it's extremely unlikely we'll ever see it since WWE doesn't usually release empty arena tryout matches. We've seen numerous old house show matches uploaded to the Vault channel, but oftentimes there's cuts or parts taken out. That's because the matches were never meant to be aired or seen for the most part. Therefore, the camera operator didn't have to stay in place or capture everything. Some famous moments that happen at live events either weren't recorded or the footage is barely usable. One example is The Undertaker going crazy for a hot tag during a 2009 European tour. This has since become a memorable fan cam clip uploaded to YouTube. The WWE's recording of Taker's outburst is from far away next to the stage. Since this is the only angle in which they filmed the match, they have chosen not to upload the full thing. The show itself was probably only recorded for insurance purposes. Therefore, the production crew didn't implement a proper camera setup. This is probably the same for many famous live event matches over the years, including the Rock and Brock Lesnar's rematch on a 2003 house show in Miami. It's one of the most requested matches by viewers of the WWE Vault channel, although as of 2025, it's yet to see the light of day. It's understandable that house shows or dark matches would be lost media, but it's rare to see a match get taped for television only to never air, especially a title change. Well, this was the case when Christian captured the European Championship from Bradshaw during the October 30th, 2001 SmackDown taping. The bout was supposed to air 2 days later on November 1st, but it was cut from the TV broadcast due to time constraints. The next week on Raw, Christian was simply introduced as the new champion, with no footage of the win over Bradshaw being shown.
And not many of you may know this, but we now have a new European champion as well, and that man is none other.
For over 20 years, this title victory has never been seen publicly. That was until 2023, when WWE uploaded most of it on social media. Christian's entrance and pre-match promo are the only things still missing. Bradshaw believes the match not airing shows how poorly the European belt was viewed by the company.
I had no idea. I didn't know that. I didn't know the match didn't air. I guess they gave such a little shit either about me or the title that the match didn't air. Just get rid of me and the title and give it to somebody who can carry it, I guess. I don't know. I have no idea why it didn't air. I guess time constraints. That tells you how much they cared about some of these secondary titles.
Now let's look at another piece of partially found wrestling media that was once considered lost. We're referring to Goldberg losing one of his early dark matches in WCW. Bill wrestled numerous untelevised bouts before eventually appearing on Monday Nitro. However, only one of these encounters ended in defeat. The match was listed online for years, but no videos ever cropped up. Then in 2023, Goldberg uploaded a short of him being pinned on his YouTube channel. The match is against Chad Fortune and took place before a Saturday night taping in July 1997.
Beautiful executed. We could have an upset here. 2, 3. We got him. Unbelievable. That's got to be an upset. I can't believe it myself. He got him. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Bill Goldberg won't let that happen a second time. I'll make sure of it.
This was 2 months before Bill's official debut on TV. Goldberg says he taped much of his wrestling training back in 97, so it's likely he has more of those early dark matches in his possession. Most of WWE's early digital content has been lost to time and updates in technology. Back then, the internet wasn't what it is now, so it was less common to save videos online. The Miz and Morrison's Dirt Sheet series was quite popular, and a lot of that has been re-uploaded by WWE after the fact. But wrestlers such as Santino Marella, Crime Time, and even Colt Cabana, aka Scotty Goldman, also had their own shows on WWE.com. Only a small section of these clips can be found online today. However, there's one series where virtually nothing survived, that being Val Venus' Sex University show. It was broadcast in 2007 and was viewed over 800,000 times. Val was the host and provided love life tips for the so-called romantically challenged. There are at least 4 episodes produced, which featured guest appearances from Maria and Viscera. All remnants of the show were scrubbed from the archives sometime before the end of 07. Given WWE's PG parameters and Val's lack of returns over the years, it's unlikely the company will ever release anything from the series. Taped footage of serious accidents and life-altering injuries are usually kept under wraps due to their severe and graphic nature. We'll close things out with 2 neck injuries that left the wrestlers in question unable to move for a period of time. In the case of Chris Bay, he had to relearn how to walk after catastrophe struck at a TNA taping on October 27, 2024. Chris teamed with Ace Austin to take on the Hardys, during which a spot countering a cutter into a neckbreaker went wrong. It led to Bay breaking his C4 vertebrae. He explained what happened on Talk Is Jericho.
We have his finishing move where I step into his hands and he launches me back into a cutter. Austin launches me back and Matt reaches out for the neck breaker and we miss by probably an inch, where we just miss each other and I kind of go under him and he kind of goes on top of me. So when I land in a position where my neck is kind of compressed and tucked inward. So my head twisted to the right and downward and his weight kind of compressed on top of my neck.
TNA obviously didn't air the match. They instead ran a video of support for Bay.
I knew it got really real when they rolled me over at some point and I saw my tights and my knee pads and my boots neatly stacked next to me uncut. And I never felt them take any article of clothing off of me.
Bay has since regained his ability to walk, defying the odds after being given a 10 to 25% chance of walking again.
Chris Bay has returned to TNA. You couldn't tell the story of this company without Chris Bay.
Our final entry looks at a neck injury, which took place during a dark match before the June 1st, 2015 Raw. The encounter between Samoa Joe and Tyson Kidd was recorded but wasn't intended to air. It's infamous for Tyson fracturing his C1 and C2 vertebrae. He narrowly avoided permanent disaster, despite being unable to move after taking the muscle buster. While speaking to Wrestling Then and Now, Kidd described the moments immediately following the impact.
I think I had my arms underneath his arms, which was applying too much pressure. I think I took it wrong. So probably paralyzed for like 5 or 6 seconds, which when you're paralyzed feels like a lot longer than that. Any longer, I probably would have started panicking.
Amazingly, Tyson walked out of the ring without medical assistance and then had a shower. The WWE didn't realize the severity of what happened. However, once they learned how badly Kidd was hurt, Vince McMahon refused to apologize or offer condolences for the injury. McMahon believed that doing so would acknowledge how WWE was liable for the accident. This would therefore risk a potential lawsuit. It's for this same reason that footage of the injury will never be released publicly.
TJ immediately told the producer that there was no time. He wasn't in ring gear and hadn't warmed up because they told him he wasn't going to be wrestling that night. But word came that Vince was adamant.
For a long time, Ryback had been the only person to go into any detail on the situation.
And by the way, and to take as long as they did to fucking apologize. And Vince, you are a fucking piece of shit. And I'm going to say it right here. For everything that you did that night to fucking go out there and create that circumstance. Oh, we were scared of a lawsuit. Fuck you guys.
Yeah. But in 2025, Tyson's wife Natalya explained the whole situation in her book, which she read aloud in audio format.
TJ wasn't waiting around for an invitation to stay with the company. He was waiting for a call or text from Vince, but it never came. Nothing did. Even back when he first checked his phone after waking up from surgery, it was full of best wishes from wrestlers at WWE and all around the world, but nothing from Vince. A reply came from Vince's lawyer via letter. Their account of what happened was completely different than TJ's. They denied everything and finished by saying that if I talked about TJ's injury at work or disparaged the company, they would trigger a clause in my contract and let me go.
Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our similar video of 10 WWE wrestlers explaining their most painful bump ever. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.